and welcome to Watercolor Wednesday. I am Bonnie Krebs, creator of Watercolor the Art Impressions Way, and this week's project is a Christmas one. Well, I'm going to call it a Christmas one, but it can also be for any occasion. It can be for springtime. I'm just using a lot of the red and green, so it feels Christmassy to me, and because I have a wreath on the front. But again, you can use this for any occasion. So we're going to use the brand new window that is out from this most recent release. So it's this one here. It's called the Ornate Window Set. It comes with the dies so that you can create this little 3D effect with the little gate on here, little fence. So we're going to use that. We're going to leave some things out of it. So on this image here, you can see what the actual stamp looks like. We're going to leave this section of the middle out, and we're going to take a little bit off of the side so that we can fit that little wreath in there. And I'll show you exactly how to do that. We're also going to need one of these little birds. So I've perched a little bird here on the railing. So we're going to use one of these, one that is going to the left. So this one right here. And then we just need a couple more things. So only some foliage, which is the simple vine. We're going to go back to the simple vine, this one. And then this tiny little flower from the mini flower set. So we're going to use that one. And we're going to create the wreath and the garland with those. And then in the little window box, we're going to use the cedar boughs. So just the left and the right. And you can use either set of cedar boughs on the left and the right. I'm using these two. Okay, so that's what we need, and that's what I'm going to use. So let's get started with that basic image, and we're going to start by inking the basic image here. And I'm just going to use the blue. So this is the dark blue, 565. The majority of the window is white and a bright white, so I'm just going to go with this, and I'm just going to kind of ink all this up here, and then we're going to take that center piece, center section out. So if you've watched many of my tutorials, you know that I use my thumb a lot and my finger a lot to do that. So I'm just going to take this off and a little bit of the sides off as well. So there we go. And then we're going to stamp this onto our watercolor paper. So just like that. And that will do it. And don't ever worry if you don't get anything in here just perfectly, because you can also come in with your fine tip like this. And honestly, I think if everything isn't stamped perfectly, that's fine. And I think it actually adds a lot of character to your little painting when you do that. So let's go ahead and add some water now to this. So this will be our first step as usual. And we're going to just pull the color out of the lines up here across the top and then down. And then underneath this little window box. And there's still, even though I didn't get this stamped perfectly, there's still some color in here that I can pull out. And this is just kind of the beginning stage anyway. So we're just gonna pull this color out of here and out of here. And let's go on from there. So we're gonna go ahead and put our garland in and our little wreath in here. So let's start out with the garland. Don't ever worry about turning your paper. Sometimes it's easier to stamp this way, and just turn your watercolor paper around so that it's easier to get that in. So let's just start with a little vine. Now I'm only going to use part of it, and I'm going to use two colors. So if you see on the original here, I've got the light and the dark in here. So let's go ahead and do that. And you can use any bright green. Now I just grabbed these two bright greens. Either one will work. This is a 173 and a 195, and you can see they're just bright greens, and it really doesn't matter which one you use. And I'm only using this tip, the little section here of the green, and I'm just going to do a couple of sections, so just two on each side, and then I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to kind of hang it off of this side, and then do another one over here. And you know, if you don't get it in perfectly, that's okay. So now I'm going to switch that out and go to my warm green. So this is the number 177. So we're going to switch this out. I'm going to stamp right over the top of that and get this mix of green in here. So I'm just inking this a couple of times just to get this dark color in. And I'm going to turn my canvas again, and this one, so that I'm hanging it clear off the side. Okay, that looks pretty good. That's exactly what we want. So I'm going to add some water now to it, dip my brush and pinch it off, just like we always do. And we're just going to dab and kind of mix these colors together. Just kind of blend them all out. And it just kind of creates a different look green. Okay, that looks good. So let's go ahead and go on to the little blooms that are in here. Now I use the little tiny, this little tiny flower from the mini flower set, and I want to do red, but I want to do a deep red, and so I want to do more of a burgundy, just a really deep color. So I'm going to use two colors on this. I'm going to use the purple, so the dark purple 636, and I'm going to use the red 885. So these two colors, and I'm going to start with the purple first. And I'm going to turn this again. So I'm going to start with the purple first on here, and then I'm going to ink it with the red right over the top and stamp this in here several times, just like that. So now I've already got my red out, so I can just do the red and then add the purple on here and just mix it up a little bit. Now I've got the purple out, so I'm just going to do the purple and then the red on top, and then just turn this. And then the opposite. And let's just get a few more down in here. And the purple and the red. So I just love how this this color really, it just really creates a really rich color, and you still get a mix of the two. You get a mix of the purple and the red, which I think makes it look much more realistic too. So it's kind of fun experimenting with colors like that and inking things in multiple colors, because our goal, you know, is always to create something that looks realistic and doesn't look like it's stamped. So I'm just going to pull a little of this color out now to the outside. And let's go ahead and go on to our little wreath. Now I'm going to use a pencil and just kind of pencil this in a little bit, just so that I have a good parameter here to work with. And I think I want it to just kind of come around like that. Now, if you have a little pattern you can use, you can do that. But remember, you can always erase the pencil afterwards. So it is really nice to be able to do that, just to give you a pattern as to where you're going with these colors. So I'm going to use my vine again, and I'm just going to use the end. So just the very tip, and I'm going to go in with my light and darks again, and leave some space for my little flowers, because we're going to kind of repeat that same garland into the wreath. Now you can do this with, you know, any color of blooms. You can make little wreaths like that. They're really fun to do. So now I'm going to switch out now with my dark green and do the same. So I'm just kind of going over the top, and you can see I'm only inking a little bit of this stamp. So that's the neat thing about using a stamp, is that you can just ink the parts that you want. So even though this is kind of a big vine, it's so versatile because you can use just the tip. Okay, so that looks good. So I'm going to go in now and add some water to that. And just kind of soften this all up. Just touch it. It's going to just kind of do its thing. You know, if you just touch it with your brush, don't worry about making any strokes. We're just going to just soften it up. And then let's come in now with our little floral. And we're going to do the same thing again here with the purple and the red. And just stamp it a few times. And so we can do the red and the purple, whichever one we have out. You can see when you do the purple second, that's sort of the predominant color here. And so it's going to change it out a little bit. But I really like that. I really like breaking it up like that. So red now this time. And then purple. 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. And then let's go again with the purple and the red. So you can get a lot of impressions with just one inking. So see how cute that is? It's just really coming together. Love this color. And then let's just add a little water to it. And you can see that that mix of color really adds a lot to it. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put in something different. So I'm going to use my pencil, and I'm I'm going to use a ruler that I have right here. And I'm just going to make this little shutter. So you can see on the original, I just drew this little shutter in here, and I want to show you how to do it because it's super easy to do, and we can close the window just like this. So I'm going to sort of put the center line back in. So just maybe a couple like this, just 2 pencil lines. And then I'm going to make these lines across here. And, you know, it really just kind of eyeball it. You know, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's better, I think, if it looks a little more natural, not so perfectly drawn. And so just keep coming down like this. You know, with your pencil, go around your wreath. And just keep making your way down. It's really fun to do stuff like this. And it makes these stamps just so much more versatile because you have so many more options, you know, when you have ideas like this. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to take a really, really light gray. So here's that N89. Now I've used this a lot lately, especially for the new simple scenes. And I think it's a great color for adding a shadow in a small area like this when you don't necessarily want to use a brush, because a brush, it's hard to get into little details like this. So I'm just going through underneath my pencil lines and just adding a little shadow in here. And I think this just does the trick. And then we can go in here and just make a little line next to all of these little slats. And we've got our little, oops, do this area. And we've got our little shutters all drawn. Okay, so let's go on now and add some add some color now to this, this little window. And I'm going to use my, my cool green. So this is number 249. And I'm just going to add some color now to this little window. And you can add this or not, or you could change the color out and add whatever color you want in here. And I think I'll just put some color down in here. And then I'll just put some up in here too. And a little shadow in here, just to kind of push that back a little bit. And under here. This is just a little overhang, and so that's going to have just a little shadow underneath there. Okay, so I'm going to add some blue now to my palette. And mix just a little bit of these two colors together and drag some of this color out. Just pull a little of this color out to the side. It'll just kind of brighten everything up. A little bit up here. Because it is, you know, it is a window, so it is attached to a building. So we do want to kind of see some background here. And we can see a little shadow now underneath this wreath, just with a little blue under here. This blue just makes the best shadow colors. Okay, so that's looking pretty good here. So let's go on now and add our Christmassy look to it, and that's with these cedar boughs. So I'm going to use this cool green again, and I'm just going to hang some of these off this little window box. And you could, you know, if you had some little sparkly balls or something, you know, some little gems, you could put those in here. That would be so cute. And just make this really, really Christmassy off of here. I love that there is a right and a left because I love hanging these things over the edge. Okay, so now let's add a little water to it. Be careful when you're adding water to these that you don't lose the shape of these little fir boughs because you want to be able to see those needles on here. So you just want to soften it enough that it looks like a watercolor, but still be able to see all those separate little fir boughs. And the same with this too. Now we're hanging this over, so we want to see a little shadow. Just hanging over the edge. And then let's just put a little color underneath here. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. We've got our foliage in, we've got our garland in. And now we can add our little railing to it. And on the original, I cut out a white one, but look how cute a red one would be. That would be so cute. You could also, because it's Christmas, so you could take something like purple and maybe put a little bow in it like that. That would be so cute. You could add some little details, some little dots like this. And I'm just using a simple purple. And I think that is so cute. So I'm going to sign and date because this little painting is finished. You could add a little sparkle to it and put your little railing on here, and you are finished with this little project. So I hope you will give it a try, and I hope you like this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And I will see you next week on Watercolor Wednesday on Facebook Live.